Hello! Hello! Do I have lipstick on my teeth? Do I? Probably. I put lipstick on for you. Spoilers, 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 spoilers for this book. Hello, Nola. It's reading time with Nola. It's me, Jazz, with another reading vlog. I'm actually really jazzed. So I just came, it's Sunday, and I just came back from the gym, and I already started reading a couple of the books for this reading vlog. I'm going to introduce them in just a minute. The thing about the reading vlog is that I had grand plans, and I'm not sure if those plans are going to come to fruition because the weather forecast, despite the fact that it looks really nice right now, it's cold, it's rainy, and it's going to stay cold and rainy, I think, for the next week. Let's check the weather. Everything for me is dictated by the weather. Okay, weather. Okay, so today it's not so bad. It says windy. Monday, not too bad. I mean, it could get better. It could improve, but right now it's cold and rainy and windy and kind of stormy. Kind of typical Montreal autumn weather. It's definitely cozy vibes. Definitely want to get under the covers and get a good book going. Maybe bake. My daughter's been after me for some crumble, so maybe we'll make some crumble for her. And I think I want to make stew. So it really feels like that kind of cozy weather, the end of summer. I'm here for it. I'm wearing a sweater. We got some books on the docket for the next couple of days. We have The Rabbit Hutch, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, by Tess Gunty. I've already started this one. Terry Miles' Rabbits, which I've already started and literally have gone down a literal rabbit hole reading. And then I'm hoping to get back to Camp Zero. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to it, but it does look promising. Okay, this kind of behavior with dogs, anyone who has a dog will know that when a dog is doing this, they're making a nest where they're going to sleep. So the indication is that he's going to settle down in just a minute and like sleep on the spot. You know, we can hope. Oh, here he goes. So I've been wanting to get back to this one as well. So hopefully in this reading vlog, I will also get back to Camp Zero. Initially, the theme for the vlog was dystopian. But as I've started reading these books, I'm not sure that that's quite right. I'm leaning more toward adventure / dystopian / science fiction-y books. Don't you dare touch my flower. I woke up this morning and my ear was congested. I can't hear very well through my left ear, so that's slightly concerning. I'm trying to ignore it. I'm going to talk about Rabbits first, which is the book that I've made the most headway with. This book is so much fun. It's definitely reminds me a lot of Ready Player One. It's about a character, and get this, the main characters, we don't know his name. He goes by K. Does that sound familiar to anyone? Kafka, maybe? I mean, I was reading it and I was like, it can't be true. It has to be a reference to Kafka, for sure. There's so many references in this book. I started to kind of try to keep track. I was keeping track of the movies and some of the pop references, but I started to lose track at a certain point. It's a really fun book to read for that reason. I'm 150 pages in, and I'll get to the plot in a minute. I just wanted to say that, and maybe this is something that I'll do during the vlog, is that it's funny because I was thinking about these two books, The Rabbit Hutch and Rabbits, and I was thinking about rabbits, and I was thinking about kind of Halloween-y scary movies to watch, and I was thinking about Donnie Darko, and then of course, not like 50 pages into the book, there's a reference for Donnie Darko, so like I think I might have to watch Donnie Darko. He's referenced a couple of other movies. He's referenced Memento as well. He's referenced Fight Club, so I might have a movie night. I thought it would be fun also because this, okay, so I'll tell you the premise. This, in case you haven't heard about it, this is a science fiction story about a video game called Rabbits. It's a video game that, like a role playing, except the question becomes like, is it real life? Are you in the game? Did you swallow the wrong pill? It's It's really reminding me a lot of Mr. Robot. I don't know if anybody ever watched that show. I watched that show and it's reminding me a lot of that. It starts out in an arcade, and of course that's because there's a lot of references to older video games. Anyway, the story is about our main character Kay, who lost his parents in a ferry accident in Greece. So he's an orphan and he's an adult. We learn a little bit about his past, and we learn about how he first came to know about rabbits, this mysterious game. It's a game where nobody talks about the game, but then there's this mythology around the players who have won each iteration of the game. So far there have been 10 iterations of this game, Rabbit, and the game has stopped. We know that the game begins when you hear the words, "the door is open." Our main character, Kay, is approached by one of the winners, or who we think is one of the winners of one of the iterations of the game, a billionaire named Scorpio. He approaches Kay at the arcade, so he kind of tracks him down and he asks him to meet him in a coffee shop, and Kay goes to meet him in the coffee shop and he says, "You have to help me figure out what's happening with rabbits, because not running, and when it runs, if we don't fix the problems with the game, then we're all doomed." So Scorpio had gone out of his way to tell me that something was wrong with the game, that if the next iteration started up before that something was fixed, we were all well and truly effed. Then he'd gotten a call and vanished. The other thing about the game is that it seems to have started again where I am at in the book. The 11th iteration seems to have started. Scorpio's gone missing. The other thing that's concerning is that people are starting to die. Just gonna say it. People are already starting to die who are playing the game. Kay has to figure out what the problem is and try to fix it, not so that he can win the game, but so that he can save humanity, I guess, from whatever's happening with the game. So it's super exciting, super fun. I'm enjoying it so much. I have a feeling I'm going to get through it quite quickly. Quite hopeful to get to Camp Zero. Camp Zero by Michelle Min Sterling is definitely a dystopian novel. It's set in northern Canada in a camp called Camp Zero, which is owned by a billionaire. I'm hoping to get to that, but I'm going to focus on rabbits and the rabbit hutch and probably start Camp Zero, maybe not finish this blog. So I've also started Rabbit Hutch. I was really into this. It's such a great start to it. I would say about the first 100 pages. This is the story of Blandine, who lives in an apartment complex. Other characters in the apartment complex are described at the beginning of the novel. So we're introduced to all of the characters that live in the apartment complex. It's kind of strange because it seems like the world has kind of, the city that she lives in is a middle American city called, this is a weird book, I gotta say. Already I'm starting to see why people think it's so strange. The weirdness wasn't really bothering me too much. The writing is pretty good. Vacaville. So it's this middle America, Midwestern town called Vacaville, and we are learning about the other characters who live in this apartment complex, one of whom is a middle-aged woman named Joan, and she works for an obituary writing company. And one of the obituaries that has just been posted is of an actress who died, who is in a very beloved television program, and her son has commented on the obituary negative things about this woman. That's one of the storylines. The other storyline is Blandine, who seems to be a bit of a rebel rouser. Here's a description. She always knew that she was too small and stupid to lead a revolution, but she had hoped she could at least imagine one. She takes a deep breath, attacked by an awareness of how impossible it is to learn and accomplish all that she needs to learn and accomplish before she dies. She's spiraling down thoughts of the albedo effect, the positive correlation between climate change and most mass extinctions on the geological record, when Joan drops her detergent cap. So she meets Joan, who is the woman who writes these obituaries, in the laundromat. I've been really enjoying getting to know these characters so far. It was going really well, and now I just kind of hit a section where it had been very short chapters, and I just hit a section where it's one really long chapter, like 30 or 40 pages. And it seems to be delving into Blendine's past when she was in high school, and it's suggesting a relationship with her high school drama teacher, and it's turning me off. I'm gonna stick with it because I'm a completionist, and it was this book was recommended to me by a shop owner at a used bookstore in Maine, and I feel like I want to give it a chance, but it's giving me like ick. So I have to kind of white knuckle my way through the icky part. Hopefully it keeps the momentum. I have heard that this book starts off really well and then loses its momentum, so I'm a little nervous. It is written like a debut, I would say. It's very MFA, if you get my drift. So on the one hand, that's pleasurable, and on the other hand, it's a little bit annoying. I'm definitely on the fence. Beautiful cover. You can't see it, but it's kind of sparkly. I'm on the fence. I'll keep going with it, and I'll let you know how it's going. We're gonna go to trivia night tonight. Trivia night, I was really inspired by Rabbits to vlog trivia night. I've talked about trivia night before on my channel. On Sunday nights, my friends and I get together and we play trivia, because there's so much trivia involved in playing this Rabbits video game. Like, this Rabbits video game is all about looking for patterns and making connections between things that might not seem obvious or that might seem coincidental, but they're not. I thought it was perfect for trivia. Things like anagram. And we have a lot of anagram questions in trivia. So I'm gonna take you along to trivia. We're gonna make some crumble. Apple peach crumble is on the menu. I'm gonna pull out the pressure cooker and make some stew. So it's a cozy autumn homey vlog. We'll see if that changes. Booked a car for tomorrow, so we'll see if that changes and we go on any adventures. We shall see. But anyhow, welcome to the vlog.
Who told you that it was too late? When was it that you started leaning that way? 4 tires cut into the clay. It dries up and now there's just one road to take. It's growing up over with green. So easy to drive on, but not what it seems. The poison is spilling upstream, and it's taking out every living thing. Trying, and even if you could, it wouldn't come out like it should. This stubborn kudzu just covers these words. Could you listen to somebody else? Will you only drink from the thoughts of yourself? Are you under the canopy spell? You're digging your heels and spread the disease. You're spreading the disease. Back up the drive a bit. Could you see what this is? This is a part of it all. Over and over, injustice to injury. This is a part of it all. Could you hike back to it, fight with it, sit with it? This is a part of it all. Ask around, be aware, make peace with what is there. This is a part of it all.
I'm reading from the Rabbit Hutch. If you don't sell them as pets, you got to get rid of them as meat. Them guys are all meat, but see, they start doing this to each other. Woman points to the rabbits. What's that? Peeing on each other and stuff like that when they get older. If you don't have 10 separate cages for them, they do start fighting. Then the males castrate the other males. They do. They chew their balls right off. Then you have a bloody mess. That's why you gotta butcher them when they get a certain age, or you have a heck of a mess. That is a quote that opens the rabbit hutch. So, and the name of this housing development, translated to English, I guess, is the Rabbit Hutch, but it's a French name because it was a Quebec man who started this low-cost housing development where Blandine lives and these other characters live. So I wonder what's going to happen in this book, because I had heard that it was dystopian. And then some people commented on my channel, it's not dystopian, or I didn't think it was dystopian, but it is about this town, Vacaville. And what we begin to learn about the town is that it sounds so much like it was based on Flint. Former auto company existed and employed the majority of the people living in Vacaville. Hope I'm saying the name of the town right. And now the town is they're trying to revitalize this town, and there are no jobs. People are kind of down and out. There's a big rain with flooding that happens, indicating the impacts of climate change. And then we have this idea of redevelopment that these corporate executives are going to use to rejuvenate the city. And I guess it's a critique of that. I don't know where it's going because I'm 200 pages in and I still don't really know what's going on. There's quite a bit of, you know, when I say I digress, there's quite a bit of digression in this book. That doesn't mean that it's all going to lead to something, but there's a lot of, oh, let's just go off on this tangent, shall we? There are characters who we get some in-depth chapters on who haven't appeared in the entire story. I mean, I just read a chapter about a couple conceiving their first child. I think the woman's name is Hope. We didn't know anything about before. I think I had one chapter, there was one chapter on her at the beginning of the book. We're still following Blandine. I got over my queasy feeling about the relationship with the high school teacher because she's handled it fairly well and points out that this is not an uncommon occurrence. It explains a little bit Blandine's character. There's a lot of hypocrisy in this story about people who are told that they can, Blandine in particular, they have great minds, they could be great if they just went to university and got the education and followed the rules of the system. Feels kind of critical of the system. And I think there is something kind of dystopian about it because it doesn't seem, even though it's, I think, taking place in the present day, it does seem like, I don't know, maybe it is as bad as this in the present day. I don't know, because I don't know where it's going to go. There's a group of men that live with Blandine in her apartment who have started killing animals for Blandine, like as a sacrifice. I don't know where that's going. The son of the television child star who I talked about earlier is kind of plotting to make an attack on the woman who removed and then reposted his comment on what was his mother, the star was his mother's obituary online. And there's a lot of weird stuff in this book. He offers psychological advice, but he has no psychological qualifications. We've just delved into the story of someone who's contacted him asking for advice, and it's a really strange story based on Clue, which is weird because I just watched the movie Clue. We're going off on all these different tangents. It feels like it could be great, but it is lacking some cohesion. Like it's not as cohesive as I would like it to be. And I think she does get a little lost in her own prose. In the writing, some sections are really good though. There is this one part where I think Blandine is falling in love with one of the boys that shares the apartment with her. And this is just to give you a sense of the writing. Jack looks sturdy, convincing, real. He glows with the radiant health Blandine associates with the Amish and the fatal obedience she associates with the military. She looks at him, truly looks at him for the first time. Freckles splashed on his nose from the sun, facial asymmetry, speckles of acne, the bright and enduringly crowded teeth. His muscles have become more defined since the spring, his chest broader, his clothes tighter. Even though her roommates are a year older than Blendine, they usually strike her as a generation below. But right now, in the July light and immaculate loft and the buzzing aftermath of their first real conversation, Jack appears her age. That's pretty good writing. It's just, it does get a bit, some of the style of the writing I find gets a little repetitive. I can't put my finger on it. I think that she's talented, but it's just clear that it's a debut novel. I didn't know that this won the National Book Award last year. I didn't even know that. And I'm not following the National Book Award this year, but it's making me think maybe I will. And then there is another scene where Blendine like eats a bunch of lettuce and greens, and she starts eating them in this kind of maniacal way, so it's suggesting that she is a rabbit. I don't know. This is a strange book, no doubt about it, but I'm glad I stuck with it. I think it's definitely worth a read. I'm gonna finish the last 100 pages and then fill you in. I haven't read any more of Rabbits yet. We had so much fun at trivia last night. That was a good time. And today I think I'm going to flip the script a little bit on the stew. I think I'm going to make pulled pork in the Instant Pot. Yes. I think I'm going to try Dr. Pepper pulled pork. I know it sounds gross, but it also sounds really good. We're going to see if we can find some pork shoulder somewhere in the city. And I'm going to take you along with me. Oh my goodness. This book was extremely disturbing. It really was. Something happened. Well, the last update that I gave you was disturbing. And then this book just kind of took a turn all of a sudden. And I mean, I know that there was, I don't know, it just didn't go quite in the direction that I thought it was going to go. I thought it was going to go a certain way, and then it went in a different direction. If anybody has read this, maybe you know what I'm talking about. And then it got super dark, and it was upsetting. What a strange book. At the end of the book, there are a series of illustrations. Oh my gosh, like I don't want to give too much away, but there's a goat involved, and then I was a bit annoyed because Blendine revisits, runs into James in the present day, and James was a teacher at school, and I was getting irritated. I was like, I don't want to hear any more about this part of the plot. And then parts of it were really interesting, like a reflection on women and capitalism. I don't know, some of it was really, really good. There were really good moments in this book, but yeah, I'm trying to figure out what to make of it. And then there were storylines for characters that that didn't really, I don't know if they were relevant. It was such a strange book. So it all does culminate in one major event. It opens sort of with that event, but it's an event that you don't really know what it is exactly. The only thing that we know is that in the first chapter, Blendine leaves her body. I think it's maybe the second chapter. And the whole time you're trying to figure out, well, why? What does that mean exactly? And I thought for sure Blendine was going to orchestrate she orchestrates one political activist protest act where there's a meeting of these executives and like the ceiling opens and these voodoo dolls and animal bones fall out. That's just early in the beginning of the book. And then I thought she was going to orchestrate something really interesting near the end. I'm not going to say, I guess maybe it's obvious that I guess spoilers. That doesn't happen, and I found that disappointing. I really wanted that to happen. But she's still a really interesting character blending to me. I don't know. I think that this has all the hallmarks of a debut, and I do think that it could have been better edited and better refined, unless I'm just missing something from the other characters' stories and the point of their stories to the overall story. I do think she's dealing with maybe too many themes. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. I think I'm leaning towards I like it, and it is a debut, and give it kind of the benefit of the doubt, but it is disturbing. What is it about rabbits and disturbing books? Because also Bunny by Mona Awad, I'm not going to pull it off the shelf. And speaking of rabbits and disturbing, I am more than halfway through Rabbits now, and the obsession with the rabbit and its disturbing character is also really prevalent in this book. I marked a page. First of all, the video game itself is called Rabbits. And they end up in a museum, and I did consider going to a museum for the vlog, but I think I'm not going to do that. I think we're going to go for a walk in the woods today because finally it's not raining. So I was going to take Nola up to a park where he can be off leash and go walking in the woods. They end up in this museum. They're following a clue. It has to do with Dante's Inferno because Scarpio, when Kay met him at the diner and before he disappeared, he did reference the opening line to Dante's Inferno, which is now Onward Goes. Anyway, so they're in this museum. Twins show up, like Suicide Squad style, and they follow them and this character called the Swan. There's another character called the Crow. There are a lot of animal characters. Find this painting, and this is how it's described. As we explored the myriad works of art that made up that exhibit, we saw terrifying things, including some images by Gustave Doré and a number of truly bizarre religious sculptures and drawings. But one piece grabbed our attention immediately, an oil painting by an unknown artist. It was harrowing. Near the bottom of the canvas, hundreds of small figures poured from burning cracks in the earth in tiny rows, as a dozen or so grotesque demons with animal heads stood poised to yank them up and consume them. There was one demon, much larger than the rest, towering over the proceedings like a twisted puppet master, its mouth wide and bloody, waiting to devour its next victims. That demon had the head of a large hare. I mean, I didn't know that rabbits were so threatening. I don't know. Some people have rabbits as pets. One of my daughter's friends had a rabbit as a pet. Now I'm like really reconsidering the cute bunny mythology, ethos, I guess. This has been really fun. It's getting more complex and complicated. More characters are being introduced. I'm right at the halfway mark, and they've introduced two ideas that are significant. One is that Kay might be having some kind of a mental break, which is not, I don't know, that's a trope that I've often seen. I mean, it was the same thing in Mr. Robot. I said already that this reminds me a lot of Mr. Robot, that the character is having a mental break either from playing too many video games or because the video game presents an alternate reality, and that the alternate reality, people just think the person's crazy because they're not experiencing the alternate reality. So there's that idea. He keeps kind of blacking out, and now he and his friend Chloe, he's describing things to Chloe that aren't part of her reality. In particular is a movie Before Sunset, and then the other parts of the trilogy Before Sunrise and Before Midnight. And Chloe says that she's never heard of Before Midnight. So there's a lot of maybe the suggestion of moving between dimensions or time travel potentially. Yeah, so it's very science fiction-y. The last section I read, he went to a video game production secret head office and encountered a man who goes by Crow, who's connected to his parents, and a scientist who was exploring electronic pathways or electromagnetic pathways that represented different realities or alternate realities. So that's kind of where this book is going. It's fun. I mean, it's a bit complicated and very detailed. It takes you through it as as if you're playing the game. You really have to be up for that kind of experience with this one. But the fun thing about this one is that it keeps referencing movies. So I thought it would be, so I've started keeping track of the movies that it's referencing, and I thought it would be fun to put them in a little jar and pull from the jar to watch a movie at the end and eat our pulled pork and our apple crisp, which is next on the agenda for the cooking part of this vlog, for the cooking show part of this vlog. Can you please get off me? We're gonna write down the names of the movies. Of course, we have Before Sunrise, we have Fight Club. This is fun. I didn't know this was gonna happen when I started the vlog. You know, vlogs, you never know which way they're gonna go. Donnie Darko. This can be my list for the spooky season. These are all pretty, except for maybe Before Sunrise. These are all pretty fun. Anyway, I'm not going to be able to get them all focused. You just have to trust me that that's what I'm writing. So let's see, we have Before Sunrise, Memento, Donnie Darko, Fight Club, The Fly. So Jeff Goldblum plays an interesting role in this book, I'm just going to say. So actually they named off a bunch of Jeff Goldblum movies, and I just picked The Fly because that's the one that I think is the creepiest. And then a French thriller from 2003 that I've never heard of called Swimming Pool. Actually, there were a couple of other horror movies and more obscure movies that I just left off the list because I don't think I want to watch them. I don't like really deep horror movies. Like, I don't like things like The Ring. It's not really my deal. I do get scared. And then The Shining, having said that. But I think The Shining is just, it's such a classic. It is scary. So far we have 7 options. 7 options in the jar. We'll see what happens by the time we get to the end of the book. So yeah, let's go on a fall walk with Nola, and then we're going to make some crumble. And by then, I'm hoping I'll have finished the book. It's so fast. It's so fast. I'm expecting to be finished it super fast and hopefully get a start on Camp Zero before the end of this vlog. Yep, so that's the update.
You that it was too late. When was it that you started leaning that way? 4 tires cut into the clay. It dries up and now there's just one road to take. It's growing up over with green. So easy to drive on, but not what it seems. The poison is spilling upstream, and it's taking out every living thing. Every living thing. Who told you that you were no good? There's no use in trying, and even if you could, it wouldn't come out like it should. This stubborn kudzu just covers these words. Could you listen to somebody else? Will you only drink from the thoughts of yourself? Are you under the canopy spell? You dig in your heels and spread the disease. You're spreading the disease. Back up the drive a bit. Could you see what this is? This is a part of it all.
So it's the next day. I did not get to making the crisp yesterday. I'm going to make it today. But I did finish Rabbits. I did finish reading Rabbits, and I did start reading Camp Zero. Before we get to the reading update, I just wanted to share with you some book mail, which I'm so excited about. Can't remember now what I ordered. Let's see what we got. Oh, I'm really excited. Oh, this is so good. Okay, so this is a book that I've been waiting to get. I'm super excited about. How to Build a Boat by Elaine Feeney. I just talked about this in my video, the 13 books that the Globe and Mail recommended for fall. And I know it was longlisted for the Booker, as we know, and I'm excited to read it. It's about a boy who is neurodivergent, or I'm not sure if he's autistic. His name is Jamie O'Neill. He wants to build a perpetual motion machine so that he can reconnect with his mom who died giving birth to him. And it's a story about how he connects with a teacher in shop at school. They build a traditional Irish boat. Yay! Very fun. No, I don't know about fun. I'm very happy with that. And then what else do I have? Oh, I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting to start this because I'm way behind in terms of the group read for this. The Waves by Virginia Woolf. Do you know how hard it is to find a copy of The Waves? You'd be surprised. And I wanted a copy to match my copy of The Years. I've heard this is her best work, very poetic, and it is one that I'm hoping to read in October, and I just love this cover. It's so beautiful. And then I know you guys, I gave into the hype. I gave into the hype of Tomorrow, Tomorrow, and Tomorrow. I just didn't want to buy it in a hardcover, and so finally it came out in softcover by Gabrielle Zevin, and everyone's talked about this book. I don't think I need to talk about it any further. And then I haven't talked about it yet because I haven't done my September wrap-up. Sorry, it's coming. But I ended up ordering a copy of Foster because I had taken it out of the library and I loved it so much that I bought myself a copy of Foster. What a beautiful little book. Actually unpacking a book that I ordered that I already read. And then the last one that I got, I'm not sure if this was a good idea or not. Maybe you can tell me in the comments below if you read this, anyone. My dad was a big fan of Jonathan Coe, so I ordered Jonathan Coe's Bourneville. I've heard good things about it. It takes place in Birmingham, which is where my family is from and still lives. I think that he looks at COVID-19, Brexit, and all kinds of political commentary through the eyes of this woman, Mary, who's lived there since 1945. I have heard good things about it. Let me know in the comments below. So that's my little haul. That's my little book order come in. Okay, let's get on to the books from this vlog. I have like liquid in my ears. It's really, no, in my one ear I have liquid and it's just throwing me off. I was really sick yesterday. No, the day before yesterday. It's lasting a really long time and I just don't know why I can't shake it. I'm going to talk about Camp Zero, which I started and I'm almost 100 pages into, by Michelle Min Sterling. This is a debut. It's set in 2049 in northern Canada, told from different points of view. It follows, so far from what I've gotten to, up to 100 pages, it follows the story of Rose, who has been hired ostensibly as an escort to work at this camp, Camp Zero, with I think 6 other women, and they're referred to as the Blooms, and they all have names. They're named after flowers, so Iris and Rose and her friend Willow, who for whatever reason her name is after a tree. But anyway, it seems like she is like an agent of some kind, a spy of some kind, you could say. This Camp Zero, this place up north, very remote, is owned by a billionaire, and she is assigned to him, or she makes sure that she's assigned to him. Obviously, she's either gathering information about what he's doing up there at this camp, or she's going to be a part of some kind of sabotage. I don't know, I'm just predicting. And then there's another character, Grant, who has come to teach the workers. So there are male workers at Camp Zero. They're called diggers. I'm not sure what's happening at this camp yet. I haven't figured that out. He's hired to teach them, I guess, English. He has a literature background, so I don't but they speak English. So I'm still a little confused about that. Maybe I missed something because I was reading too quickly. I'm not sure. And he comes from a very Harvard-like wealthy family background. So we have his character, which we don't actually know that much about, except that he was in love with a woman, this woman Jane. We have a little bit of their backstory. And then there's another perspective and another parallel story about a place called White Alice, which is a group of scientists, women only, who are collecting data for, I think this has to do with climate change. They're sent by the military. They're militarily trained, I think. Something has happened where they found a map and they figured out that the people who were at this military base before them, the home base that sent them didn't give them enough supplies and didn't come back, didn't provide a way back for them, and so they ended up perishing there. So they're actually trying to leave this base camp. And that's where I am in the book. And I don't know what happens. I still am not quite sure. I think it's just that most of the world is uninhabitable. So that's why everyone is up in this northern region of Canada. And I don't know how many people have survived or how people are living. I think people are living in the South, as it's referred to, but they're not, their circumstances are dire. It's very hot in these places and there are limited resources. And I haven't heard about any fighting yet, but I guess I'm going to find out a little bit more. So far, the pacing is really good and I'm really enjoying it. It's a fast-paced dystopian read with a billionaire for a villain and a female protagonist for heroine. So far it's definitely fun. I hope the second half is as interesting as the first half. So I finished Rabbits. This was a super fast-paced book. It didn't take me very long to read. That being said, it did have that feeling like that you were inside the game for most of the story. So there is an element of, here's some more information of a puzzle that we're putting together, and here's some more information, and oh, here's this piece of information. Do you remember it from the first quarter of the book? There's an element of that happening in this book, which I think maybe it was just slightly too long because my brain sort of started to get quite tired at a moment. Now, it could be also because I was reading it for the reading vlog and I was reading it over a short period of time. I did have that kind of feeling of this kind of a feeling, kind of a frenetic, like trying to figure out what's happening because we have to win the game to save the world. I'm not going to tell you how it ends. It was fun though. I had a good time with this book. I thought it was really fun. I think there's supposed to be a sequel coming out. At least I've got that impression because it does say the game continues at the end. Somebody let me know in the comments below if there's a sequel. Woohoo! So, is that everything that I wanted to talk with you about? I think so. That's my update. Oh, the movies! Oh yeah. Okay. Everyone, I almost forgot about the movies. So I had the movies in the movie jar. There was only one other movie that they referred to, The Ice Storm, in the book. So here we go. I've got my little jar. We're gonna watch a movie. I'm gonna watch a movie tonight. Maybe I'm gonna pull from this jar for my entire spooky season. Seems like a great idea. We're gonna watch a movie. I'm gonna make the crumble after all, and still haven't even tried my pulled pork. So it's all happening. Noli, do you want to pick? Okay, I'll just close my eyes and I will pick. Oh. Before Sunrise. Hey, that's not like a creepy movie or anything. Oh my god, it's been ages since I watched this movie. Before Sunrise. Thank you everyone for coming along on this little adventure with me. Stay tuned for some baking footage. And I will see you in the next video. Bye for now. something happens to Jeff Goldblum in this book. For all you Jeff Goldblum fans out there. Oh, I looked. I'm really bad at this. Okay, put my hand in. Oh my god, they're all stuck together. They're all stuck together. Sorry, I can't squeak. You can't squeak while I'm filming. Yeah, so he says Alan Scarpio. Hey, Alan Scarpio. Okay, I'm gonna have to put this away. Sorry, I'm gonna have to put this away.